Hey guys, it's Dawn, and I help purpose-driven women entrepreneurs confront the fears that are holding them back from making the income and living the lifestyle that they need in order to impact the world in a big way. So this video today is to talk to you about why I started Fyrefly. So I'm going to give you the backstory kind of on my life. This will be the short version, but so I grew up in a family of 7 kids. I was the oldest of those 7 kids. My parents were entrepreneurs. They actually owned a gymnastics center. My dad grew up in gymnastics and was the 1974 national trampoline champion. So back when, jumping and trampoline and all that was super cool, and actually in the Olympics, my dad was kind of running in that crowd and was privileged to be in gymnastics and diving all of his life, and so he started a gymnastics center. My parents obviously were very busy. My dad was very busy. He worked all the time, and since it was a gymnastics center, he actually worked while we were out of school, because since he was working with kids, he was always with other kids while we were at home. My mom is a brilliant woman, but over the years, she really began to struggle with bipolar issues and lots of mental problems. And so what happened was I, as the oldest of 7 children, became the surrogate mom and was responsible for taking care of the house, making sure that everything was put together, kids were eating. And as a result of that, I really never got the opportunity to pursue my own gifts and dreams and goals, or to even understand who I was. So I was a very, very bright and gifted child. I got very good grades. I read voraciously. I read, my honors English class, I blew through the list of books that were on the reading list for the whole year, I think in the first quarter. And I read still every single thing I can get my hands on. I read the back of the shampoo bottle if I stand in the shower for too long. But anyways, so what happened was, coming out of that circumstance, growing up, I met my husband at the age of 19, and we had a matching set of baggage, so we thought it would be great to pair that up and make a complete set. So that's what we did, and we got married about a year later when we were 20, and I moved right on out of my house where I was the sole or primary caretaker for my brothers and sisters. Time went on from that, and right away I wanted to be in that place of caretaking. So I thought we should have children right off the bat, and so we started trying to have a family. That didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. And what happened was that through a miraculous circumstances, we actually did end up adopting our first child when I was 27. So me and my husband were actually together 7 years before we had any children, which at the time I thought was an agonizing and horrific and terrible and horrible, and how could God be doing this to me? But now looking back on it, it was the best thing that probably could have ever happened to me. And isn't that how it works? We think that we want something and we want it right now. We want it in our timing. And it never is the right timing. And then when we look back and we think, when it happened was when it was supposed to happen. But when we're anticipating it, it's hard. It's really hard to be patient. So anyways, let's get back to the story. So I actually did not go to college. I didn't go to college because I met my husband. That was one of the reasons. I was actually all signed up. I was going to go for teaching. Met my husband and was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. I need to be a housewife. So that's what I did. So anyways, we had the kids, and me growing up in a traditional home meant to me in my mind that it was important for me to stay home. So I spent the next 9 years of my life at home trying to be a stay-at-home mom. I was terrible. of being a stay-at-home mom. I have so much energy and so many ideas going on all the time in my head. Like I said, I seek after knowledge like crazy. I'm kind of like a sponge. So it was very difficult for me to be able to stay at home and pair that alongside the mindset that I had growing up, which is, I need to be a nurturing mother who adores sitting on the floor, reading books to her children 24/7 and baking cookies and, just at peace. And that was not at all who I was. And I struggled with that for so long. I struggled with the fact that how come I was born into this body with this personality and I was supposed to be this person, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to be that mother that I thought was the perfect mom. So I was in the midst of that struggle or trial when my daughter was getting ready to go to school. She's my youngest. She's 7, and she's 7 now. At the time, she was about 4. It was coming up to the time for me to really be getting back into the workplace, and I was very excited about that. I was very excited to have some direction and goal in my life because I'm such a driven person that, again, not having those goals for me every day or something big that I was searching for was causing a lot of depression and a lot of distraught feelings of, that I was dealing with being a stay-at-home mom. So anyway, what happened is I went back into the workforce and during the time that I was staying home, what I did was to keep my mind active. I blogged and I learned all about the internet while I was blogging. I learned how to set up a WordPress. I taught myself all about PHP, all about different programming languages, HTML, how to market online via a blog. And so what I did is I took that information and I took it into the marketplace with me. And I got hired as an office manager for an insurance agency. And when I was at that insurance agency, something happened to me that I just, it needed to happen. So what happened was, I realized that I was going in and I was consulting with the owner of this insurance agency, and he would ask me questions about how to run his business, and I would essentially sit in his office for an hour a day consulting him on how he should run his business. And it's not that he wasn't very bright. He was extremely bright. He went to Stanford. So, he was a very intelligent man. But I found that somehow within me, there was this propensity or ability, this innate ability to be able to see farther down the road and to be able to advise and consult people. And it was something that I never really had cultivated. I had read tons and tons of leadership books growing up, but I never really understood what a leader was. And it was at that time in my life that a career coach came into my life. And actually, that career coach is the husband of one of our Fireflyers. But anyways, he came into my life and he was able to explain to me what it meant to be high potential, what it meant to be an ex-gifted child, what it meant to be a leader. And he started coaching me as to who I really was and what my purpose was. And that all of these things that I had done in my life, all of the massive amounts of information that I had read, all of the ability to learn extremely quickly, alongside all of the depression and all of the oversensitivity and all of the things that made me a sponge, he was able to show me that that is what I was made to do. I was made to be a leader, and that I couldn't escape who that was. I couldn't change it. That was my purpose, and that I needed to step into it in order to really go forward and to do what it was I was put on the earth for. So after that time frame of him coaching me, a year or two went by, and I There's a lot of ums in this video. Sorry. So what I did was I really started thinking about that, about what I was here for. And as I was meditating on that, praying through that, it came to me one day that what I really wanted to do, what I really, really, really wanted to do was I wanted to create a tribe of women that